we were following the theme of the title of the show, we'd be all wearing black. 3 guys before the game. Title, Blacked Out. Episode number 511, and we welcome you in. The Dean is here. Poppy Kercheval did not bring his party line with him. The Senator sporting the Efforting t-shirt, which has become one of the hottest items on episode800.com for the Christmas season. You know how many people are going to be unwrapping those bad boys on Christmas Day?
Yeah.
Woo.
Heavy interest.
Lots
Big
of
on
interest.
Christmas lists.
Better get going.
This is the short sleeve version, by the way.
It's
It's going to be about 50 today, so I break up short sleeve.
Nice.
Yeah, we were recording on the 7th of December. We're 3 days away from when you have to get your order in if you absolutely positively want to have it before Christmas. More on that coming up. 3 guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. That's a quarter of a century. Comax Business Systems. 3 guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com, where that Avalon Tri-Tune special is waiting for you. Visit Lou Wendell, give him a call. Award-winning. Best in the Valley, best in the Tri-State, and they're the best on 3 guys.
Get a big red bow, put it right on the front.
3 guys also brought to us by Gomart. Go for good times. Go for Gomart. Saw the president of Gomart at the ball game last night, Phil. He was there. I think he wanted to get some shots up. They presented him with the ball before the game, the ceremony thing.
Oh, yeah. He didn't dribble it, did he?
He didn't. It looked like he wanted to put it. I said,
You got to keep that for safekeeping. You
yes,
don't dribble
exactly.
it.
I don't think he probably
Definitely don't take it outside and shoot with it.
No. 3 guys also brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. They're our sponsor for Spreads on Stats. Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. All right, let's jump in. About a dozen hours removed or so from West Virginia's date against the Pitt Panthers, the Backyard Brawl, episode 190 of that series, which began in 1906. Well, continuing theme for the old gold and blue. If we just scored games and said win-lose at halftime, West Virginia would be right there. But they do play the full 40 minutes. And again, the Mountaineers run out of juice. Pitt never got cold the entire night. You looked at the numbers after the first half and you said, chances are they're not going to shoot like that again from 3. No. The 3 was the storyline. We broke that down for you earlier this week. With the Senator and Spreads on Stats. They were a rim 3-point team. They don't do anything in the middle. They let those threes blow away, and they equaled the most ever by an opposing team against WVU with 16. And individually, Hinson equals the record by most by an opposing player. He had 9 threes. Previously, Tamar Slave from Marshall did it, and C.J. Massenberg did it 5 years ago when he played for a really good Buffalo team, coached by Nate Oates, who's now down there at the University of Alabama. They had a really good team. So, Hoppy, El Senatore, let us begin. Pull it apart.
Well, I'm looking forward to the stats from Spreads on Stats. I'll just start with this. I was thinking a lot about this game and about this team so far this year, and one of my favorite sports books of all time is My Losing Season by Pat Conroy.
Right.
Also wrote The Great Santini, I think, right? And
Correct.
Prince of Tides.
Sure.
And he wrote about one of his years playing basketball at the Citadel, and they had a losing season. It was very traumatic. And one of his quotes from that book is, "Losing tears along the seam of your own image of yourself. It's a mark of shame that causes internal injury but no visible damage." I mean, that's a pretty harsh view, but it tells you how competitors, and at this level, Brad, they're all competitors, how difficult it is for competitors when you're losing. And there are going to be a lot of losses this year for this basketball team. And a lot of it is through no fault of their own. I don't think it's not like lack of effort. It's just, and Tony, we were talking on my coffee clutch earlier today where it's as though the other guy got 8 cards and you got 5 cards. and you're just short. You're shorthanded. And, Cook is back, but he's going to be limited. You don't have Raekwon Battle. Jose Perez is averaging 13 points and 5 rebounds at Arizona State. So many things are stacked against you. And I would hope, Brad, that Mountaineer Nation would actually sort of embrace this team and say, we know it's going to be long. We know it's going to be a struggle. We'll be there with you. We're not going to get down on you. We'll help you through this because it's going to be a slog.
Yeah, and I think so far they have been. I thought that was a pretty good crowd last night for the weeknight game, and that at first half had its moments where it reminds you of how special that building can be when you're in that rivalry. And I thought some of the pregame videos were really good and captured the essence of that rivalry, and you broke the black uniforms back out again. I thought it was really exciting there for a while. And yeah, you just ran out of gas against a team that, listen, in Pitt, we talked about it on Monday, they are high variance. They love to shoot threes. And when you get them on a night when they're making them and you can't affect change and Hinson just keeps backing up on you and making shots, you're going to lose to that team. That's how they're going to be. There's going to be some nights when they don't make their shots and you're going to have a chance to beat them. Last night was just not one of those. Tony, to your point, we talked about that rim and three rate. 81% of their shots last night were either at the rim or from three, and most of that was from three. West Virginia did a pretty good job of keeping them off the rim. They made shots. They made shots. It's as simple as that. And I got a couple more stats I'll give you here in just a minute. The other part I'll say, you mentioned it there in a drive-by. I thought that moment last night when a Cook returned to the floor was pretty awesome.
Sure.
That was pretty neat how that crowd reacted and seeing him be able to get back out there from what you saw the last time you saw him laying on that floor in as scariest situations you can have. To see him return last night and that ovation he got was pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely true. We talk about the bench and we talk about the lack of a bench and productivity for WVU. Last night, Pitt's bench outscores West Virginia 25-3. 25-3. You take a look at the minutes from their bench, and I'm just doing super math in my head here, but that's 51-60. They got 76 minutes off of their bench, 76 minutes, and West Virginia got 34. So there you go. And then you mentioned, one of the best performances I've seen inside the Coliseum by an opposing player in Blake Hinson. The way he shot the ball was Andrew Wiggins-esque, Antonio Daniels-esque when he came in for Bowling Green in that NIT game. Massenberg that I mentioned. Very rarely does a guy come in and just get so hot that it is wow. That was an NBA shooting performance last night.
He took a couple with his heels on the logo there. He only had, one non-3? At least late in the game, it was one non-3. What did he finish with?
He finished with, he took 4 non-threes.
Yeah, but how many shots did he make that were non-threes? One
that wasn't a 3.
Yeah, that's what he did, was shoot threes. The other part of that for West Virginia, we talked about Pitt's rebounding ability and especially how difficult they made it on teams to offensive rebound. So a couple keys you're going to hear me reference throughout the whole season.
Do you want to go spreads on stats?
No, not yet, because I've got a whole the Drexel preview will be spreads on stats. This is bonus stats section. Bonus here.
Bonus spreads on
It's part of the game wrap-up here, a little
bonus.
bonus.
Do we put the Conley name under this? Or?
No, we can. They can.
The JV edition of Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley You're going to go glasses. Well, if you put the glasses on, it goes official.
No, not official.
All right, go ahead.
It's hard to see. I got a different screen here. It's smaller. So if you're going to struggle from the floor with which West Virginia does, just what were they, 3 of 16 from three-point land?
That's 3 of 20.
3 of 20, so 16%. Yeah, 16% there. So that's going to be tough. You've got to find other ways to score. So one of those is going to be at the free throw line. West Virginia's been top 10 this year in getting points at the free throw line. Well, it did last night as well. That worked. You were plus 10 at the line. You made 16 of 18. So that part worked. The other challenge was just going to be on the offensive glass. And Pitt, one of the best teams in America at defensive rebounding. West Virginia did not get its first offensive rebound until 9 minutes to go in the first half, had just 5 for the game, and only turned that into 6 second chance points. So that's a recipe for disaster right there. You couldn't find another way to score, and they're making threes on you. That's very difficult. West Virginia was good at the rim. We told you Pitt's opponents could get to the rim and score. 70% of the time they were shooting coming in. West Virginia very good inside, 12 of 15, 80%, but it just wasn't enough because you couldn't make any three-point shots. So that's going to be a key moving forward. Can West Virginia get offensive rebounds against teams, and can they continue to get to the free throw line until somehow And maybe that's Kerr Kriisa coming back. He'll help your shooting a little bit. That gives you one more shooter on the outside. But that's going to be a big challenge and struggle for this team all year.
This stat sheet, if you break it apart, it's got a lot of things that make you go like, whoa, like just aberrations. How about Pitt? 0 second chance points.
None.
Now, why?
None.
Because they made their shots.
Right. Right.
If you would have said that going into the game, you go like, oh, no way.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of shots at the rim. It was just the story for them was simply 3 points. You give up 16 3-pointers in a game, you're probably not going to win that game. Then that's just what happened. That's the easy handicap there.
You know what also was a surprise? Just watching the game, and you've already busted the numbers, but isn't it surprising to you that only 4 players from Pitt made a 3-point shot? You know what? Because it seemed like me that they had 9 guys make at least one. You had the 2 brothers, right?
Yeah, that took me a minute to figure out they were brothers. I'm like, why is that guy's all over the place there? Like, I didn't have the roster. I wasn't like, I was just looking like, what's that? What's that guy? He's all over the place. How's he doing that? Wasn't he just on that side? He passed to himself? He run over here and catch it himself?
Hey, man,
They were good.
They'd be Jorge Diaz-Graham.
Yeah.
And Guillermo Diaz-Graham.
Did you have trouble with that?
No, not really. I just look at their number, but they're identical. One's 7 foot, one's 6'11". They're identical. Coming into the game, they each had 5 3-pointers on the season. And late in the game, the brother passed it on the wing, and his brother cut. And I mean, that's a special moment. That's a special moment. But it seemed to me like they had 9 different guys make threes, but they only had 4.
Yeah.
And the Diaz-Graham brothers each hit a 3-pointer.
Their freshman point guard, Bub Carrington's pretty good. He got a chance.
Got a chance
because he's one of those guys. He had a really good game.
Size.
And just size and controls it. Like he was controlling what was happening out there.
As a freshman.
Like I'll decide when I'm going to drive, when I'm going to shoot, when I'm going to give it to Hinson, when I'm going to I'll handle this. I got it. He was really good.
His dad is a AAU legend guy in the Baltimore area. He created Team Mello, Carmelo Anthony's team, and another Baltimore whatever deal. So he's like a basketball guy. But his size, now I'm not saying he's going to be, but he's got Halliburton-esque skills as far as that length goes and totally controls the floor.
Yeah,
See, freshmen aren't supposed to do that.
Yeah, he controlled the game.
I mean, freshmen aren't supposed to be able to come out and just run the thing.
Flip back over to West Virginia for a second. Quinn Slazinski, again, good scoring night for him. Jesse Edwards, they did what they did. Your third scorer last night was Ofri Neve. So he showed you a couple things on the offensive side. Has to get more comfortable pulling the trigger on a 3 when he has it. I think that's one of the things you saw last night from West Virginia. They're going to have to let it fly. I know they're not hitting 3s, and that starts to get in your head from a confidence standpoint, but they were, especially at the end of the game, Tony, passing on some open 3s that they just simply have to take. Seth Wilson, he's got to pull the trigger. He's got to take more shots. He's a guy that can make them. Ofri's got to have that confidence to be able to put the 3 in there. Second part, mentioned a Cook coming back in, which was really neat. To be expected, his conditioning's not anywhere close to where it needs to be, so he could only go literally a couple minutes at a time. But you could see, Tony, I thought in that a short burst there defensively, he can help this team. He blocked 2 shots, had another one where he's in the middle of the lane. Carrington drove baseline, would have normally gone up, did not. Opted to drive under the basket, pass it out because of a Cook. 3-pointer was missed. He got the rebound and went the other way. So block 2, altered 1, and how many minutes did they credit a Cook with? 4?
7.
No, 7.5.
Got 7.5. So 2 blocks and 1 for sure altering of a shot. And he runs the floor. You know what else he did well? This surprised me for a big.
Entry?
He had a great entry pass. That one down on your side on the right wing, got it in there very effortlessly and easily. That's encouraging because Jesse Edwards has tight windows to get it into, but there are times when he gets guys on his butt and his back that you have got. When he shows, you have got to get it to him quickly to allow him some space to work. I thought a Cook had a nice entry pass. Ofri Neve had one too. The Harlem Globetrotters between the legs. Hoppy, I've never seen that. His defender, he threw it between his defender's legs on the bounce into Edwards.
Yeah. That's foreign. A lot of foreign guys. That's very
the bounce
foreign.
pass, using
I
the bounce
wish he would
pass.
just gone behind the back between the guy's legs on an entry pass.
You know, Ofri is feeling his way through, but I like what you see, again, as a freshman, because he has no fear. He will stick his face in there. And
goes hard.
He goes hard. That's all you can ever ask for at this point. But he's got to shoot it better. He was 1 of 5 from 3. Finished with 4 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He only had 1 turnover. He did block a shot, and he gave you 35 minutes. But For example, Seth Wilson. Seth played 22 minutes. He has to shoot it more than 3 times.
Way more. Simply put, way more.
You got to shoot it more than 3 times. You have to put it up to the rim. That's your job is to shoot it up to the rim. Shoot the ball.
And he had some that were open looks that he's got to pull on, that he wavered for a second and then kicked it around. He's got to take if they don't go, they don't go. But you have got to be able to take some shots because he's a guy, we've seen this from him. He can get hot, hit 3, 4, 5 in a row. Seth Wilson, you're right, cannot have a game where he only gets 3 shots up.
The other weird part of this whole thing is, and while we say that.
We interrupting you over there, or you just...
Why do you say my coffee clutch? You're the guy that brings coffee.
This has become a coffee clutch.
Well,
I mean, usually you don't pour it till one of us is talking or something. You're just on your back porch.
You know what I'm drinking?
Well, as am I.
Game day grind from Mountaineer Roasting.
It'd be nice to share.
Take it. You got a cup? I got a little bit left in there.
Actually, I don't have a cup.
Why don't you mix this in there with your Marilax?
By the way, Rusty's off topic, but Rusty is making more of that as we record.
Yeah.
It's sold out again. Second round sold out.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, it's really good. Really good.
Anyway, I didn't mean to throw your train of thought off there as you're pouring your coffee.
Oh, so here's a thing to keep in mind while we say shoot the ball, shoot the ball, shoot the ball. If things were normal, they were. But you also have to put this. They're also being told, run the clock through so that we don't get into a track meet. So you've got this give and take of, because you don't have a bench, because you can't get in up and down games, you're asking guys not to play the way that they normally would play, and perhaps that is why guys are not pulling the trigger when they normally would, because they're trying to get the clock down to shorten the game.
There's some of that, but you could see last night was an example. There were some shots later in that game when the bench was saying, "Guys, you got to let that fly."
It's quite apparent.
Yeah,
and you don't know when Carissa comes back how that changes.
Well, he's going to make more.
He's going to put the ball. This is what he's going to do. He's going to put the ball in guys' hands in shoot-ready positions. That's what he can do. They're going to be able to. He will run offense. He will get it to you. Will you pull the trigger? And then obviously we'll make it. Talk to a guy who was really good today. Not in basketball anymore, but was a really, really good player. He said, this game's really, really hard when you can't put it into the hoop.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes. And I think it's a combination right now that these guys are struggling with their confidence.
Yes.
Therefore not pulling the trigger. In addition to trying to run an offense that squeezes the clock down, because that's not normally the way that they play.
So I think a couple things with the Carissa. One, you're right on the passing, but guys are also going to have to finish, because there's nothing more frustrating than when you make good pass after good pass after good pass and they don't finish. Pretty soon you're just going to say, I'm not giving it to you. I will not pass to you. I'm just going to shoot it. He'll make some threes too. We keep talking about him as a pass first and distributor. He can also shoot it. Took, 6 threes a game last year at Arizona, so he'll shoot. Here's the other part I think that Carissa can help you in, and I think Josh is going to try and find this balance, because he's done it in some games, but you can't do it every game. You've got to find some transition opportunities to steal some easy buckets.
Yes.
Because you're always better. When your offense is struggling and you struggle in the half court, the one thing you can do is try and beat them down the floor before they set up on you. So I think when you get Carissa, who's more comfortable pushing, you're going to have to find a way to steal a couple possessions per game. And Josh knows that. He's done that on a few occasions. You've been able to get some easy transition buckets.
Yeah, but last night they only had 4 steals and Pitt only had 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers.
Jeez,
so you're not going to get those free opportunities, but you're exactly right. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Comax Business System. You know, if you're a business owner, that time has come perhaps that you need a new phone system. Well, like everything else, technology has made phone systems nowadays completely different than they used to operate. And in our last episode, I think we talked about how the phone has certainly evolved from party lines. Now, believe it or not, they can go into your business and install a digital phone system, which will blow your mind as far as keeping track of the folks that work for you, whether they're in the office or not. From 1 line to 1,000 lines, give the folks at Comax Business Systems a call. They will give you a free price quote and let you know where that stands, whether you want to buy, lease, rent, whatever it might be. It's ComaxWV.com. That's ComaxWV.com. In fact, if you get the right phone system and say one of your employees goes out and they're riding on a Lou Wendell Marine pontoon, not a problem. You can connect with them right there in digital quality.
So you don't have to tell Comax 3 long, too short when you call, right? They'll handle all that for you.
No, they the phone system kind of
told
Is that
a
what you were?
story.
You were
That's
3
all I
long,
did.
too short.
I
does that.
forgot to check with my brother, but I think that's what it was. I was just relating a story.
No, that's fine.
That's all I was doing.
This is good. No, it's good. There may be more of a mention of that when we get to textual healing. There may be a few people.
The only mention in textual healing might be that.
Yeah. Lou Wendell Marine Sales. So let's say you're on the pontoon. Let's say you go in there and you buy that unbelievable, gorgeous 2023 Avalon 2385 Entertainer, and there it is. So you can have your digital phone system ready in your hand. I mean, and then they'll just forward you. Let's say someone calls the office.
Okay.
Boom. That bad boy just your voicemail. They can contact you. You can make it like you can fake people out. You can say, I'm in the office, but actually you're on the pontoon. What you're looking at live is the 2023 Avalon 2385 Entertainer. It is the top-of-the-line tri-tune model. Whatever you want to do on that watercraft, you can. Tell the folks at Lou Wendell Marine Sales. You're a Three Guys listener. Get the Three Guys special price, $89,774. Comes with the Honda 150 motor and the trailer, the tri-tune Entertainer model from Avalon.
Sound
Lou
system
Wendell
on that?
Marine Sales.
Sound system?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, they can hear you from both sides of the water on that bad boy, from ship to shore.
Poppy, you'd like that black awning there in the back. See how that you can
I
pull
do
that?
like
You
that.
can pull that up and secure it so you can give yourself a little sun, little shade.
I like that. I like
It's hot. It
yes.
prolongs your day on the lake there with the nice awning.
That would work perfectly.
Those are easy to put up, easy to secure as well, easy to take down.
Yeah.
So when you take your hanky, out
Well, don't start with the
and
hankies.
you dab yourself, when you start to perspire, you'll say, honey, could you please put that awning up? I'm getting a bit.
I'm not going to tell you guys
I got
anything
overrun
ever
with
again.
hanky text too, and stopped at the game last night.
I'm not telling you guys any personal information again, ever.
No.
Anything.
No.
Nothing.
We love
You
it.
know nothing about me from this point on.
You know, it is one of the best parts of the show.
Well, I'd be mocked.
Well, I don't think on definitely not on the phone. You're rallying support. And I received a bunch of hanky
And the handkerchief.
support for you as well.
Now, the problem is now every time I get out my handkerchief, I get this bad vibe. Like,
Well, you should.
What
You gotta
should
think
I do?
real quick, and I know we got text. I got to get in spreads on sets real quick. I was told by one of our multiple buyers looking for episode800.com. We have multiple people out there in the market looking to add products to our site. Very, very skilled retail guys.
There's there's a very strong, people want the hanky.
Our guy said he can't find any hankies to be produced.
Dave can't find hankies.
You can't.
He can't outsource those.
You can buy them, and we can individually. Like we might make Kercheval do it since he can individually package them and send them out. But our normal supplier that handles all of it doesn't offer hankies, which is stunning considering apparently how many people still use hankies. Can't believe that wouldn't be an option available.
Yeah, really.
So, efforting, as my shirt says.
We can do that.
Efforting.
We can find.
probably
I'll be
some-
happy to be a hanky supplier.
I mean, if you want to package it,
I've
we
done
can
that.
do that.
I've done that. I
you
enjoy
can find
that.
those.
I enjoy-
Packaging?
Yeah, when I did my kids' book,
Oh, you did? Yeah.
I did all of
complain
those.
about that every day.
I packaged those. I enjoyed those.
Yeah, right. Enjoy.
That's an absolute revisionist history.
No,
Been in your office many times where you did not want to be packaging books.
no, I enjoyed it. I did.
So I checked the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater. Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. Ready? 5, 4, 3.
Time for Spreads on Stats. Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. 'Tis that time of the season, folks. It won't be long. You'll be getting those W9s, 1090s, W2s, and all those W's. When you go, what am I going to do with this? Conley CPA Group says, rest easy. We got you covered. That's what they do.
Drop it all off.
Drop it all off. Conley CPA Group, complete public accounting and consulting firm serving clients throughout the great state of West Virginia, surrounding states since 1985. They are truly West Virginia people. They're not one of these offshoots brought by a big company from outside of the state that just buys these accounting firms. No, they're like, well, they're us. right? They're West Virginia people. They get West Virginia. They take a client-specific approach to understand what clients need and what they're up against, and then they give you the solution and go like, why don't you try to do it this way? Conley's CPA Group. So much more. And they're the only that we know of. They're the only CPA group that doesn't get nervous when tax deadlines approach. Everyone else
laugh in the face of deadlines.
Everyone else fritters, Brad. A lot of fritterers out there when it comes like, oh, it's deadline time. Conley CPA goes like, yeah, we got it. Not a problem. We got it. We're good. Got it. Take care of it for you. Well, thank you.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. Is it as bad as as you'd think?
What? What do you think I'm going to do?
No, he's doing Drexel.
I was going to do Drexel. What do you think I'm going to do?
Oh, I thought we were still doing Pitt.
No, I think I've moved on from Pitt.
Solid move.
Gave you a couple numbers. I think we moved on.
By the way, you're wearing Drexel colors, aren't you?
We're in Mountaineer colors.
Also Drexel colors.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And I've got the blackout glasses. Ready?
Do it.
Drexel preview. Hoppy.
Yes.
Here's the first thing I would say to you.
Yes.
Don't sleep on the Dragons here.
Right.
Don't sleep on them.
They'll burn
Villanova.
you. They'll burn you if you sleep on the Dragon.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
You've got a couple dad jokes here the last two
Yeah,
previous. Just beat Villanova.
Correct.
Just beat Villanova. Had a tough game against Princeton. I watched that Princeton game the other night against them. Princeton. Don't sleep on Princeton.
Really
At some
good.
point down the line.
You see what their net ranking is?
Yeah, they're
8?
They're legit.
They're 8 net ranking.
Ooh.
I know that it's early in the rankings, but they got some guys. I was really impressed with Princeton. That's neither here nor there. Don't sleep on Drexel here. Their calling card is their defense. They're 13th nationally right now in effective field goal percentage. They were 3rd going into that Princeton game. So this is a really good defensive team. They're top 30 in 3-point field goal defense, getting a West Virginia team that is struggling to score. So keep an eye on that. I'll come back to it in a minute. They have a 6'10 guy in the middle, Amari Williams, who is their conference's preseason player of the year. So as you would expect with a big guy in the middle, especially at the mid-major level, teams do not shoot well at the rim against them, just 56%. So much like we talked about Hoppy going into St. John's, this is a fun big guy matchup here. Amari Williams against Jesse Edwards inside. They play really slow as well, a controlled pace for them. That theoretically helps West Virginia, but the challenge with that is going to be limited possessions, which forces you offensively to be more efficient. We know that's part of where West Virginia struggled this year. So what do you go back to? What have we talked about if you're West Virginia? You got to find a way to get to the line against this Drexel team. They don't give up a ton of fouls, but you got to get there against the line and score, and you got to find a way to get on the offensive glass. So the Dragons are a little better than the national average when it comes to their opponents getting to the lines. WVU recently played St. John's and Pitt. Those were two teams that didn't put teams on the line a lot, and West Virginia found a way to get there.
Right.
So that's what you've got to do again, and that's really going to come from two areas. It's going to be Edwards, and it's going to be Slazinski drawing contact. Both of those two players, Edwards and Quinn, are top 10% nationally in fouls drawn on 2-point attempts. So those are the guys you want fouled. You want them to get to the line. They're shooting the free throws well. That's got to be a big part of this game plan for West Virginia in an area to score points. The other area where West Virginia needs to get on is the offensive glass, as we talked about. Drexel's been very good at keeping teams off of the glass. Top 50% nationally in defensive rebounding are the Dragons. They're a real veteran team, too. I mean, this is going to be a really good team. I mean, Zach Spiker, their coach, Morgantown native, is a friend of ours, so I realize at times we can be a little biased. I'm not in this case. They're really well coached, know what they need to do to win. Veteran guys have confidence because they just beat Villanova. This is a team that's going to come in here and not say, oh, we're happy to be playing a Power 5 here. This is a team that's going to come in and say, you know what, we think we might have the better team here. We're going to win this game. So West Virginia's going to have to play and have a bounce-back game here and find a way to get some buckets somewhere against a team that's really good defensively.
Yeah. So as Brad said, full disclosure, Zach is our boy. Zach has been on this show, and I've known him literally since I first came to Morgantown, and he was about this tall, and he would sit across the way from me at Morgantown High School. I would do the game up in the Crow's Nest, and his brother Timmy, who played at Purdue and then at Washington U, and I said, Zach, you're going to be my statistician. So he's a little kid, and he would come up and climb up the ladder at halftime and tell me how many three-pointers Morgantown had made. And I'd say, thank you very much. And so we've known him all along, and he started in the business with Greg Marshall at Winthrop, got a job, like a non-paid job at Winthrop out of college. And well, I'll give you the story. So he's looking to get into the business. Drives with the late Gary McPherson, who was an assistant, longtime assistant at West Virginia. Gary takes him to the Final Four, Indianapolis. And he says, I'll introduce you to people. So he just takes him around. And just takes them all over the place. And just Coach Mack is just like, now I want you to meet, and I want you to meet. Now this is this guy, and this is this guy. So Zach finds a way through all these introductions to get in with Greg Marshall at Winthrop. He goes down like no money for the job, but they say, this is what we'll do. You can work at this car wash in Rock Hill.
Such a weird business.
You can work at this.
Got a job for you.
Yeah. He works at this car wash in Rock Hill like half the day, then runs over and starts to get in like just doing stuff for the folks at Winthrop. John Beilein, a couple of years later, gets the job here. John Beilein got more calls about Zach Spiker. You got to get the Spiker kid. You got to get the Spiker kid. You got to get the Spiker kid. So John, fine. Yeah, okay, fine. I've heard more about Spiker than I've heard about Tyrone Sally. So he brings him up, and basically he's like a support staff guy at West Virginia. But like smart cat that he is, like when West Virginia, he couldn't be on the floor.
Right.
So what he would do is he'd go in the he would go up in the stands while Mountaineers were practicing, and he had a little leather book, and he would write down every single drill, every single set, the whole thing. Because like Beilein doesn't give his stuff up. Like you're asking Beilein for like the recipe to Coca-Cola. Like Beilein's not giving his stuff up. John's just like, nah, we're going to do my stuff, right? So then through relationships, John gets him with Steve Donahue. Steve was at Cornell, and they have a great run. Zach becomes his lead assistant, and if you remember, in 2010, when West Virginia goes to the Final Four, Cornell had a fantastic team. They're in Syracuse with us. Mm-hmm. They were really, really good. So they had made it to the Sweet 16 that year. So Zach was content. He was just going to stay at Cornell for a bit, and then in October of his last year at Cornell, phone call, they fire Jim Cruz, who was the head coach at Army, right when practice was going to start. And they offer the job to Zach. Zach goes in, bad situation. They just fired the coach. You can imagine these guys are like, well, who's this guy? Goes in, first head coaching job. And puts that thing together, wins and wins and wins, ends up winning more games than Coach K and Bob Knight.
At Army,
which is hard to win. I mean, really super hard to win, because when you recruit there, you say, we need, we'll give you 4 years, and plus you have to give us 5 more years.
But you know what his pitch was? His pitch was, and get the best education in the world.
Sure, exactly.
Okay, so that doesn't appeal to every basketball player, but appeals to some. That is something you can recruit to, which other schools cannot.
No question. So he wins there. Drexel job opens. Drexel was like flatlining. Like they had nothing going on there. It had cooked. He gets in there. This is his 8th year. And he builds. You can just watch the ladder. And a couple of years ago, he gets him into the NCAA tournament.
Won his conference tournament.
Won the tournament, got the automatic bid. And now he's in year 8 and got a good team. He's got a good team, good solid team that could be anywhere in that, 1, 2, 3 in that league. Delaware's really good right now, but really good. So that's him. And as you said, extremely well coached. He's learned from extremely bright minds. Has never been at a place yet where it's easy. I mean, it ain't easy at Cornell.
He's a hard job coach so far.
It ain't easy at Cornell. It ain't easy at Army, and it ain't easy at Drexel. One day I pray that he gets into a place that truly, is committed to, do it. And that day may come for him, but that's where he needs to get. But he's a hard place coach right now. Mm-hmm. So that's who he is, and he works it.
So one thing for them. So a couple things I think if you're looking from an angle from West Virginia that you want to stay around and stay in this game and have a chance to win it late. I mentioned their pace is fairly slow. They don't force a ton of turnovers defensively, even though they're very, very good defensively. Shots are going to be hard. And then they don't shoot the 3 extremely well, or at least haven't this year. And that's one of the parts. They've got some guys that can make shots. So at some point during the year, they're going to have guys get hot. If you're West Virginia, you just hope it's not Saturday. Because if they get hot and guard you, they're a really tough out. But so far, they've struggled from 3. So I think it's just incumbent upon West Virginia. Somebody's got to make some outside shots, whether that's Josiah Harris when he's open or Seth Wilson has to be able to make an assist with Quinn and Jesse Edwards scoring. It just can't be those two again. But that's going to be the matchup to watch. Those two have to score, and then is there somebody else that can come along and make some shots?
Yeah. All right, so we'll see how it all unfolds. If you were to say one thing that West Virginia absolutely must do and one thing absolutely Drexel must do, what would they be?
Well, West Virginia's, and again, I don't mean this to be a cop-out, they've got to find a way to make a few more three-point shots. They just simply do, because right now, you just see the attention Edwards gets when the ball goes in, and he is drawing a lot of fouls, as I just mentioned, but you've got to be able to make those shots when he kicks it back out to you. That is first and foremost. And I think the Drexel side would tell you the same. I mean, they know they're going to guard. They're going to do a good job at that. If that Drexel team starts to make some shots from outside the perimeter, they are really dangerous because they can get to the lane. Most of their work is done inside the lane. If they start to get some of their shooters hot and make threes like they can, then they're going to be a really tough out the rest of the way.
Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's time, your favorite, my favorite, everybody's favorite, textual healing. It's all we're here for is just to give you some healing. Sometimes you need more healing than not. Yeah. Textual healing is brought to us by episode800.com. Episode800.com. That is our website where we sell all of our stuff. And we got stuff, man. I mean, we got apparel. We got apparel, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, work boots, coffee, popcorn, Mountaineer Munch.
That popcorn's popping.
It's almost illegal.
You have work boots?
Man,
I don't know about
I
that.
threw that in there.
That was
I
interesting.
don't think we have a trampoline on there yet. But
Just kind of threw that in. We eventually want to get.
water skis.
Yeah, we eventually want to make the website and
100-gallon trash
episode800.com.
cans.
Want to make it like when you walk into
Inflatable
Sam.
sandal.
You come out of Sam's and you go, "What'd you get?" Well, I got a brisket. I got 3 pairs of dungarees. I also
Flour.
I got a poinsettia.
Well,
and
I'm saying baking flour.
Yeah, baking
Bake.
25 pounds of flour and 3.5 gallons of crushed black pepper. And what else did you get?
2 deck chairs and a trampoline.
Exactly. And a
Went back because I forgot. Got 60 protein shakes and a muffler.
That's what we want episode 800 to be. So go to the site, episode800.com. And again, all orders, if you want to make sure 100% that they're there by Christmas, get your order in before December 10th to guarantee it. Shirts and apparel, you're pretty good, but the coffee and the popcorn by December 10th.
They're making more popcorn. That's sold out again as well.
Yeah.
So they're putting that together.
So you might say to yourself, well, how in the world are you guys able? I mean, very similar to Santa. How are you able to distribute and get this stuff, to these people so well? Well, we've got a crack team of elves that packs it. And also, folks, I'd like to introduce you to Daryl and Roger from the Star City Post Office. They basically are Mountaineer Central. Let's take a look at that. There they are right there. So those are my guys. Daryl and Roger, Star City United Postal folks. What they do is we bring that stuff. That's the popcorn. We package that up, and those fellas, about as good. I mean, they're about as good as you get. You
5-star?
Well, you talk about Ritz-Carlton as far as like the elite status. Customer service over there, they're unbelievable.
Top shelf.
So here's what the deal is. We've got WVU students that have been involved with all of the things that we do throughout. They help us package that. And first wave of orders hit mailboxes Thursday and Friday. And it's allowing us to get our students exposed to the business side of things. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you see us do, the logos, Hoppy's beer can, all of our stuff is all WVU students. We get them in all aspects of the business.
New logo, the secondary logo.
So Roger and Daryl. Now, let me just say this at the same time. The guys at Star City are terrific, and that's where our guy Dave delivered. But I was over here at High Street Post Office last week.
Right. Smooth operation there as well.
Gold standard. I couldn't be happier right now with the postal employees at Star City and at High Street. Now, let me say this. It didn't always used to be that way. I mean, I've gone into a few post offices in the past. They give you the stink eye.
So you think the NIL's working for the post office and recruiting? They're doing a nice job.
They're doing
garnering more talent in.
They're doing a great job. They're getting team people. And over High Street, Star City, thumbs up.
We didn't plan on this, but I actually had an interaction with a Postal Service employee today. Brought a package right to my house. Couldn't have been nicer. Tremendous.
Good to hear.
Yeah, they're the best.
Good to hear.
Yeah, they're the best.
I'll give him some snacks. Take with them.
What's the head of
Long
the post
day out
office?
there.
What's like medical's got the Surgeon General. Who's the head of the post office? What is that?
Postmaster General, right?
Postmaster General.
His name is DeJoy.
Excuse me?
His name is DeJoy. I forget his first name, but actually there's a big controversy.
Oh, yeah,
right
because
now.
he's like trying to pull certain. Yeah, we won't get into that.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, just leave that alone.
Okay.
Textual healing.
It's the only thing I knew today. I got cut off on it.
Well, I mean, you were going to bring up like this thing that like people are criticizing. We don't need that.
That's fine.
It's
That's
Christmas.
fine.
It's
No, that's
Christmas.
fine.
It's Christmas. Everyone's happy, except the miserable people. They'll find a way to be miserable. But anyway, guy yells out to us: Charlotte food options for those going to the bowl. Ever Andalo is one, and this John G's barbecue. This guy got me into John G's barbecue down in Charlotte, but here's the problem. I got fired up, looked at it, said, I'm going to do that. They're only open Saturday.
Really?
Till sold out.
Ooh, that's a really good place.
That's a really good
Yeah.
place.
One day a week and until sold out, that's probably pretty good.
Also Optimist Hall. Hello, three guys. Paul from Tampa. 8-4, heading to a good bowl. Great news. Unfortunately, my nephew scheduled his wedding reception on game day. My sister has obviously failed as a mother. Regardless of my family feelings, we have to know which Mountaineers are skipping the game. Any news yet? I'll never forget Will Greer skipping his last year in Morgantown and Holgerson trying to make up for it with the Wildcat, a bowl I'd like to forget. Let's go, Mountaineers. Don't know yet who is or who isn't playing. I think I should say this. The lean, from what I'm hearing, is you're going to be in pretty good shape. But again, who knows? Hello from Hurricane. Really enjoying watching three guys. Hoppy's not the only one with a party line. Still using Hoppy for our first down communication. I'm going to the Mayo Bowl. My son lives in Winston-Salem. Perfect fit for me. Remember, eating mayonnaise sandwiches as a youngster. Also, make it a point to carry monogrammed hanky. Keep up the great work. Fred McPherson, not from McPherson, Kansas.
Thank you, Fred.
Look what he said. Look what he said. That's in his
Fred.
house. Do not think it's operational, but that's in his house. An old phone. Texter, hi Alice. This is James Bickerton from 4 Longs and 1 Short. Can you please connect me with Mr. Kercheval at 3 Longs and 2 Shorts? Thank you
I
kindly.
love that. That might be my highlight of the year.
Texter, just finished watching the pod on the YouTubes. As a kid growing up in Bridgeport, our phone in the basement was a party line. You had to listen to the ring combo to know if the call was for you so you could answer it. I guess by now that it's 48 years ago. Also, when I dress up, I always have a hanky. Was told what happens if you see a beautiful woman crying. If you get a handkerchief, you swoop in, you save the day.
Well played. Nice.
Thank you very much, Sir Walter Raleigh. Based on these alone, I have officially aged out. See you in the nursing home, Hoppy. The real Nick the Greek from Bridgeport, now living in Texas.
Oh, that's good. Gives a shout out to our own Chris Cleghorn for getting him to watch the program. So thank you to Chris.
Texter, CL in Clarksburg. I'm writing in support of my fellow J-School grad Hoppy, who received unwarranted harassment over his use of a party line on the most recent episode. I'm a year older than Hoppy. I grew up in Fairmont. We had a single party home phone. Then when you picked it up, the receiver and the operator answered, "Number, please." In first grade, the nice lady from C&P Telephone came to our school to teach us the latest cutting-edge technology, rotary dial phones.
Awesome.
Meanwhile, my relatives in Enterprise had a 4-party line. Their ring signal was 4 rings, each about 1 second in length and separated by about 1 second. I can recall my aunt picking up the phone and upon finding the line in use by a neighbor saying, "Betty, get off the line. I've got an important call to make." And I can remember my cousin talking on the party line when she heard the unmistakable click of someone else from the party line picking up the phone and eavesdropping on the call. That usually led to, "Hey, you, get off my call." They had a party line in the early 1970s. The good days.
By the way, that is exactly how it worked. Exactly.
You know what was frustrating on those rotary dials, though? How about when you got to like one of the last couple of numbers and your finger slips and it didn't go all the way and you got to restart the whole thing?
You know, I have nightmares about that.
about having to restart on the.
Yeah, I have to restart and can't dial. I'm trying to dial out.
And you were not patient, I assume, your whole life, just like you are now. So you're in a hurry. And
I'm trying. Yeah, jeez.
Nate from Morgantown has a situation. Scopes, spreads, and Mr. Walter Hagen. First-time texter. This weekend, I'm driving to our nation's capital to watch my beloved Dolphins and former Mountaineer David Long continue their dream playoff rush. Side note, I would love a spreads on stats about the sneaky good season that David's having for Miami. While driving, I instructed my girlfriend that I had to listen to a couple of episodes of Three Guys to catch up on during the drive, and she had to put her ear pods on if she didn't want to listen to those folks that she calls the Three Crazy Guys. About 30 minutes into the episode, she looks over at me, pauses the podcast, and says, "What are you doing?" I had no idea what she was talking about and replied, "Nothing." She proceeded to ask what the clicking noise coming from my mouth was. Apparently, I have begun subconsciously echoing your clicks and adding my own where I feel necessary.
I take it back. This has now made my year.
That's
You
perfect.
guys have conditionally trained me to click on command and without my knowledge. I'm not sure whether I am impressed or concerned. Either way, love the show and everything you're doing. Looking forward to getting to Charlotte in a couple of weeks. Let's go. Nate from Morgantown.
Real quick, David Long. He's having a pretty good year.
Yeah, he'll hit you.
Defensive grade, 71. How about his rush defense grade, 92?
That's what they always said. Remember when he was here? He was a great run stopper.
One last thing. Second on the team. Good scouting report, Nate. Second on their team. Remember that metric that PFF does called stops? It constitutes a failure for the offense and which defender's responsible. Second on their team is David Long from Miami. So there you go, Nate.
Three Guys. The BCS CFP has never been about crowning a national champ. If that would, they'd use a system similar to what the 50 states have for high school football. Heck, even the NCAA has got a D2, D3, junior college football. The BCS CFP, more of a combination of a battle of the network stars and professional wrestling. Sorry, but the final 3 games of the season do not have any interest for me. Texter, could you Three Guys please comment on the WV women's basketball team? They're sure off to a good start. Also, driving back from Ranson after visiting our daughter for Thanksgiving, I made a stop at the Kroger on Suncrest, so that's Gucci Kroger, just to pick up some Kercheval. But alas, they were sold out.
Of course they were.
We'll have none for 4 months.
What?
Because they're not going to be around here.
Oh,
it still has not arrived on tap in Parkersburg that I've found. I'll continue efforting, hoping in 2024 I've got an opportunity to sample. Signed, Kathy from Washington, West Virginia. That's Wood County.
Thanks, Kathy.
Women's basketball, I mean, Mark Kellogg, as good as advertised, and his women are playing exceptionally well.
8-0, I think.
Is it 8? Beat Penn State, nationally rated nickname, ran them off the floor at the Coliseum. Lined up, stole the ball from them.
Doing both things well. Guarding extremely well. That defense has been fantastic, but also scoring. So they've got it going. Hoppy, I tell you those analytics I use, the charts I use, there's red and green. You can probably see it from where
Look
you
at
are.
that. Oh, my
That's a lot
gosh.
of green.
That's a lot.
You're struggling to find the red in there. So Mark Kellogg and crew off to a great start. JJ Quinterly having a great start as well.
I might do that women's game on Sunday.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you're the normal play-by-play.
Junior's out there doing that soccer. If the soccer team wins on Friday, he's going to stay there in Louisville and do the Monday championship.
Well, then I hope that you are doing the
Me
game,
too.
which means he stays and West Virginia's playing for the Natty.
Absolutely. Texter, leave Hoppy alone about the hanky. I also use them. Get him on his political drama, not his style. On my flight to Minneapolis this week, I got some weird looks after laughing out loud during 3 longs and 2 shorts and Santa's boot. Thank you, Three Guys. Wes and Lake
was
Wiley,
Very
South
popular
Carolina.
Santa's boot
It
decoration.
was. Like, Tony was completely flummoxed by that. Like, oh, it's Santa's boot.
How about this one? Adam from Melbourne, Australia
Ooh.
wrote in. Is it true that if West Virginia beats North Carolina in the bowl, North Carolina returns James Okonkwo and he's immediately eligible for conference play?
That'd be great.
Pick him up while you're down there.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Take it.
I bet you old James, I don't know what he probably wishes he was here right now. He ain't getting a whole lot of tick
He's not.
with the heels. Texter says, I have to come to Hoppy's defense. I grew up in Nicholas County. When my then high school girlfriend, who's now my wife, began dating in 1978, her family was part of a 4-home party line. Now we had progressed beyond hand-cranked phones, but Hoppy and I didn't have the luck to grow up in such cosmopolitan areas like Lackawanna, New York, or West Des Moines, Iowa.
True.
Thank
Signed
you.
by P1 Dad. Well, here, P1 Dad. Let's get a fact. I'm not from Lackawanna. Ron Jaworski's from Lackawanna. I'm from Lockport, home of the Erie Barge Canal.
Now, real quick, I am from West Des Moines, major city hub. Had no idea what you guys are talking about with this stuff, but did receive some texts. This from one of my college buddies. Went to a college in a little more rural area where broadened my horizons with people around the state of Iowa that I interacted with. One of my very good buddies, this is Tommy, who lives in Iowa City now, played baseball with me in college, sent me these pictures that are, one, they were in his family farm's home on his side of the family. This particular picture is his father-in-law and mother-in-law. They also had the phone, and Hoppy, he wanted me to tell you, Tommy, a loyal listener to the program, wanted me to let you know his father-in-law was 3 shorts. If you'd like to call, he's 3 shorts. So had him in Iowa too. Who knew?
You know what? I'll ring
Who
him
knew?
up.
Ring him up.
Where do you think that came from?
3 shorts.
Ring somebody up.
Look at this.
Think
Beautiful.
about
So Tommy said when they moved off, when his family moved, his parents moved off the family farm, Tommy's grandparents moved into their house, they took their phone like that, had it in their home for a long time as a decoration / antique.
No, he's your college buddy?
Yeah.
And he listens to this?
Religiously.
Seriously?
Yeah, doesn't miss an episode.
He's not a Mountaineer fan, though.
Well, I think he's kind of become one now. An Iowa Hawkeye fan first, but loves the Mountaineers too now. Yeah, listens all the time.
It's unbelievable. This show.
So he wanted to get your back.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Taunted me for not knowing about what that
Does
was.
Does he ever come to the Iowa State games when the Mountaineers play there?
I don't think he'd want to be seen in Ames. He's an Iowa guy.
But he's a big supporter of 3 guys.
Well, he might come see you.
Okay, I'd
Or
like
West
to meet
Freedom
him.
stuff.
Like to meet him.
Hey, what's his name?
Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy.
Tom Knievel, quite frankly. We'll give him a full name shout
Is that
out.
Evil Knievel's son?
No, Knievel. Tom Knievel.
Hey, 3 guys, love listening to Hoppy with handkerchief in hand talking about growing up with Alexander Graham Bell. I was surprised for all the takes on the bowl positive approach. See, everyone gets a trophy outlook about the bowl games. There's not another sport that celebrates anything other than champions, conference or national. Just to confirm, it's all a money grab, right? Alan in Morgantown.
I remember the first call we got. Watson, come here. I need you.
Texter. I made a short pit stop at the Fayetteville Sheets and was horrified when I glanced at the restroom stall door. Saw written in red lipstick, "For a good time, call Hoppy, 1-900, 3 long, 2 shorts."
3 long, 2 shorts. That's an awesome moment this year.
Texter, gentlemen, normally I'm not with the hopster, but according to statistical data, the handkerchief market is growing at 4.8% a year. So it looks like the market is favoring Hoppy. Love the show. It gets me through my... Look at there it is in all seriousness.
It's growing.
That is the graph on handkerchief
really?
sales.
Is that true?
Up 4.8%.
That's what happens. I mean, you get 4 people to order one this year, and you're up quite a bit.
Hey, what? Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
No,
caller.
never mind. No.
No, what?
No.
No, say it. This show's stopping if you don't say it.
All right. I just said if you're dressed up, but Brad's just going to say you still just have a handkerchief. I mean, you still just have a tissue.
Yeah, so that when you're dressed up, you put the pocket
I know
square.
you don't use that.
It's a
I
silk
understand
pocket
that.
square
I
that's
understand
design
that.
and decoration.
I
It's not
understand.
use.
I understand
And
that.
again, I mean, most everywhere, I don't know that I've really ever been shut out of tissue. When I've needed a little tissue, you can find it.
I mean,
They also make little packs of Kleenex now if you'd like to actually carry that.
Yeah,
hey, reality of it is this. Reality of it.
But I do have this. Again, I always have something with me.
Why is it laying around there? Why is it laying around? Have you used it yet?
Yeah.
And you just lay it there on the tabletop?
Mhm.
That's not defensible either.
It's if I sneeze in it like you do, it doesn't go back in my pocket. It
So you
goes
just
in
put it on
the
the
garbage.
table where other people have access
It goes
to
in the garbage. And that's why I wipe the table. Do you spray down your handkerchief between uses?
handkerchief. No, I don't, sir.
Hand me down my walking cane. Texter,
Oh, ma'am, I see you're crying. Would you like to use my used handkerchief that I blew into?
listening to episode 510, the argument with Brad and Hoppy over the hankies. I've been searching for it on episode800.com. I know how to settle the winning debate. For the love of everything I have been searching for, put them on the damn site and see how fast they sell out. I'll keep looking, though they won't be there by my 40th birthday, December the 10th, to get them by Christmas. Also, Hoppy would be the same age as my dad if my dad was still here, and I remember him talking about a party line and how my grandparents had the same number since he was a kid until my grandmother passed a few years ago, but never have I heard of 3 longs and 2 shorts as a number. One of the funniest episodes. Keep up the great work. That's Jeff in Lumberport.
And Jeff, as you probably heard earlier, efforting on trying to get the hanky on the site. It's such an unusual request. The supplier doesn't even put them up.
It's in
as an
demand.
option. Apparently not.
Is the supply going to meet the demand?
Texter Charlie from Midlothian would like to give a shout out and say hello to the Mitchells. I met Charlie and Martha during the April live event. If you go to episode 460 on YouTube's, following that event, our picture is what first appears. See, there's Charlie holding the microphone, and there it is, Charlie and Martha to your right on the picture.
Yeah.
And they're sitting. My answer to my question from Monday's podcast, look closely at Charlie's shirt. It says Mount Everest Base Camp. That's where he climbed.
Yeah, that's a haul.
And you know Martha Mitchell, Hoppy, as you well know, huge in Watergate. You remember? John Mitchell's wife.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, but that was Martha Mitchell.
That was
Is that Saab? Is that Saab next to Charlie looking horrified? What's Saab's problem right there?
For those watching, David Saab is to the left of the picture. That's the guy that made Textual Healing and Spreads on Stats. And he does look like Charlie is just announcing that he's a member of the Communist Party or something over there.
Come on, Saab.
I love Saab. He's funny as hell. Isn't he? Every time he comes up to you, just got a one-liner when he sees you.
Classic.
Texter, hello, 3 guys. My daughter and I went on a Disney cruise over Thanksgiving. While in Grand Cayman, we decided to give swimming with the dolphins a try. While waiting in line for our turn, we started talking to the couple in front of us. Where were they from? Fairmont.
Of course they are.
Without even thinking, I said, there's always a West Virginia connection. I enjoy the show. I look forward to it every week. Crystal in Morgantown.
No question.
Yeah.
Faye in Fayetteville. Tony, the guy that Oscar Davenport replaced in the 96 Gator Bowl was Chris Keldorf.
Was it TJ Yates?
He said, I can't remember from year to year which totes in the attic have Christmas lights in them, but for some reason I still remember that. Hey, you know,
feel you.
Going back, here's a funny story. We were talking about Zach Spiker earlier. In 1996, at that bowl game, Zach was my spotter.
Oh, really?
And Zach is a huge Mountaineer fan. And Chad Johnston threw an interception far sideline that was intercepted by Dre Bly, who went on to play in the league and was a great player. Yeah. Zach got so pissed that he never spotted it. Like, he just turned around and just went, and I'm going like, who got it? Who intercepted it?
The ball is intercepted.
I still say to him this day, when are you going to point to the board to tell me that was Dre Bly?
You know,
you can't have emotional spotters.
No.
Your spotters have to be absolutely flatliners.
Remember the judge? Dan Greer?
Yeah.
He'd get all emotional.
Not a good spotter. My son, Michael, perfect spotter.
Doesn't care?
He just like this. He'd been around long enough. He knows the heartbreak.
Yeah. I wonder, I hope that Zach is able to have a moment in the Coliseum, right, Brad? I mean, before the game where he just kind of looks around and thinks.
I hope so, but you don't know.
I hope so too, but he's a coach, so he's crazy. So he's all tight.
Right.
Worried about what defense West Virginia's going to throw at him, what offense he counters with. So it'll probably be hard for him, but you're right. It's pretty neat, really a neat moment for him to be back here, being a little kid in this area, be able to bring a team back in here to play in that building.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know how many times as a little kid his dad would go in there, turn the lights on, and Timmy and Zach would get shots up?
Oh, really?
Just grew up inside of there. Absolutely.
Now, if he wins the game, he needs to do a Bobby Bowden.
I have no joy.
There was no joy. Now, I wanted to win the game.
But I have no joy.
But there was no joy. Now, understand this. There was no joy in beating the Mountaineers.
That's from Bobby Bowden when he beat the Mountaineers. P1 Jason in Tulsa.
Remember we taped that show with him? We did a Mountaineer Magazine episode with him.
Were you there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to miss that. I didn't do anything for it. I just showed up and sat in the back because I wanted to see it. Remember, and he got done, and one thought you were going to do it again. Remember that?
No, the MSN crew thought they were going to see MSN crew for years. About the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like, one time, a million years before, like they did an interview and there was like a hit on the tape or something got botched. So they would always like do the interview twice. So we get Bobby Bowden in there And we do the interview with Bowden. I mean, it wasn't like short. It was probably like 6, 7.
Bobby was in no hurry to leave.
Yeah,
he was fine.
6, 7, 8 minutes. And they go like, okay, we got it. Okay. And then they start this like, and now we're going to do it again. He went, he said, excuse me? What? Go ahead. What did he say?
But he would have, because here's the thing. He came in the back, and we had remember Billy, his trooper that was with him forever, right?
Best ever,
White-haired
yes.
Florida State trooper that was with him all the time. He was in the back talking to us. He came back there and signed things for at least 4 times as long as it took to do the interview. I mean, Bobby was in no hurry to get back. He was great.
So this is what Bobby said.
Great.
Now you want to do it again? Now we just did it, but you want to do it again? Now I wish in coaching I could do that. If I don't like that play call, I just do. I want to run that one again.
That was fun.
We were one of the bowl games. I guess it was that bowl game where we went to practice, and anymore everybody's so tight about everything, right? And went up to the SID and said, "Now, is there some point we could talk with Coach Bowden because it's after the practice, whatever?" He goes, "Well, he's right over there. You can just go ask him right now." Just like
Best ever.
He was the best.
I also the old school guys were so much more accessible.
Yeah.
Dean Smith. I'm in college. Syracuse is playing North Carolina. And Dean Smith got a team. I mean, we're talking Kenny Smith. I mean, dude. Well, guess what? Shocker, he had a team.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the rest of the day. Hey, do you think it'd be possible if we get Coach Smith? He goes like, yeah, I'll send him over. Like, North Carolina's warming up. Like, Dean Smith walks over. I'm in the stands. Like, Coach. Does that. Luke Harnaseka.
Oh, really?
Luke Harnaseka comes over, like puts his arm around you while you're doing the interview. Tom Osborne, I've told the Osborne story. Interviewed him in his station wagon driving over from his office to the stadium. Like nowadays, these guys are so full of themselves. Like you got to get 72 forms through the SID who's got to run it through 13 people and then his handler.
But you know what? I know there are more demands on their time now than before, but at the same time, Tony, you've told those stories so many times, but to you and anybody else that they treated like that, which was probably everybody, they say, oh man, Tom Osborne, he's a great guy. Dean Smith's a great guy, because they took a moment. Yeah. They took a moment with you, which was incredible.
Those are the best.
Now you want to do it again.
Now I wish I could do that again. I call that play. Let me do that again.
Now you need those helmets. Now do you have more? Now are there more that you need signed?
He was the absolute best.
He was a treasure.
He was a treasure.
Really was.
Never again. Guys, you always tell us to go for good times, go to Gomart. Well, I did just that at the Gomart, located in the Cancun, Mexico, on my way to Destination Wedding. It was a good look. There it is. Gomart in Cancun. In attendance. Look at that. How about that? I did not know that they had branched out overseas. It may be a different color combination, it may be a different logo, and it may be a different store, but nevertheless, it's Gomart in Cancun.
That's pretty funny.
So here we go. They went to a wedding. In attendance, pictured above, 3 Guys listeners. So you got Dougie Fresh, who invites us all the time to Myrtle Beach, Bill, the mayor of Evansdale, and the de facto listener, my bride, Hannah, signed by Nate in the Kanawha.
Awesome.
So,
Congratulations.
Great
setting.
Man.
Awesome.
I remember Cancun there, and just gorgeous. Just beautiful.
Nice.
Texter, Tony Brad and Oliver Wendell Douglas. I grew up on an 8-party line in Talcott. 2 shorts and a long.
Hold on 1 second. You keep saying that wrong. It's Talcott.
Are you 1,000% sure?
Yeah, I'm 1,000% sure because I was stopped at the game last night and told to point it out today when you mispronounce it.
How do you say it?
Talcott.
Excuse me?
Talcott. Get the L out of there. Talcott.
Where is it?
It's in West Virginia.
Talcott.
No L.
Talcott.
Talk it.
Correct.
Like I'm going to talk about it. Talk it.
Correct.
All
Got
right,
it?
fine.
Yeah, there you go.
I always had to know.
Call him up and ask him. 2 longs and a short.
No, he's 2 shorts and a long.
Oh, 2 shorts and a long. Oh, got the wrong number.
My bag. Wayne and
or a
Clarksburg.
person that had 2 shorts and a long. They're excited. They jump up. They get a call. They actually heard the ring correctly.
Wayne and Clarksburg.
Wrong number.
In. Talk it.
Talk it.
Hey, 3 Guys. Jim from Preston County. I just finished episode 510. Wanted to say first, I've got a 3 Guys original hoodie. It's holding up great. Ooh. I also recently purchased the Efforting t-shirt, and it's great. I wanted to weigh in on the hanky debate. Brad chastised Hoppy for not using tissues in place of the hanky, but then he had no tissues himself. Planning on the paper towels being available wherever you go is not better than planning on having an option available if needed. Second, Santa's boot? What the ever-loving hell? And lastly, a Three Guys Hall of Fame statement. 3 guys in a short. That was our number. What an episode. We got to do that T-shirt.
Yeah.
3 longs and a short?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's busy with the holidays, but don't worry. Efforting. 3 longs and a short.
You could, Tony, given what you said, you could pull out like a chocolate reindeer and say, oh, look, it's a chocolate cow.
I tell you that those Reese's have not been good that Martha and Charlie gave us because we've been picking on those all week.
Pounding them.
You know how many calories are in 3 of those things?
No, don't worry about it.
I'm
Move
going
on.
to guess. It's
Move on.
What, 3 boots?
3 little boots.
Probably 250.
I think it was like 135. But last night I got a bag of M&Ms.
Yeah.
You know how many calories are in a bag of peanut M&Ms at the Coliseum?
250.
450.
Like a bag of
I'm
those
surprised you
peanut
had
M&Ms.
M&Ms prior to broadcast because that would
You
be a
get the
chocolate thing. when you throw
peanut
it.
dust. You get those
Yeah.
peanuts are the worst.
Yeah, I've always looked down on that.
Yeah,
I do.
He laughs that off.
I
He
laugh
just
that one
blows
off. I
that
don't
off.
care.
You don't
I
care.
don't do popcorn, but I will do.
You'll do peanuts?
Peanuts
Yeah.
don't scare him. You don't
Mm-mm.
care.
Doesn't care.
Just takes the
Texter.
bag, opens it, and just drinks it like he's drinking out of there.
You won't eat them during the game.
No, I don't know. Here's something. This confirms what I thought. There are hankies involved with railroad employees. Here we go. Picture, please. Look, right there. Petticoat Junction. Them
There
old
you
boys
go.
had, them old
There you
boys
go.
had, them old
Now
boys
there,
had hankies.
I think that's a perfectly fine use for a hanky. Now, do they blow their nose in it and put it right back on their neck?
I
They
would
do
doubt
everything
that.
with it. They
That's
untie
right.
it and use it to wipe.
And if you're changing the oil, you put it on the cap
Sure,
so you get
yes,
a
put it
grip,
on the cap.
right?
Yeah, it's for everything.
Yeah, everything multi-purpose hanky.
Absolutely.
If they
So
want
does
to
it-
rob the train later, they just pull it up over their right?
Whatever. It's multi-use.
Does this mean that Ted in Warrington, who ripped me last
Yeah,
time,
well,
he owes me an apology?
he might.
He
That
does.
looks like a
Railroad
train.
dudes
There's
with
evidence.
hankies.
Yeah, that is railroad.
That
dudes.
is
Thank you.
absolute evidence.
Because if
Thank
you
you,
couldn't
Ted.
tell by the railroad, they got the railroad hats on, right? That style of hat
how
clearly
you
denotes
identify them.
clearly
Yeah.
denotes that they're railroad
What
workers.
was the name of that?
Petticoat Junction.
What was the train? The something Cannonball?
Well, he's asking us, who did you like better, Bobby Joe, Betty Joe, or Billy Joe?
I felt like I was Uncle Joe.
This podcast is unbelievable.
Tony, I have to take up for Hoppy with the 3 long, 2 short rings. I remember going to my grandparents in Old Town, Maryland when I was little. They had a party line, and when it rang, you answered if the correct combo of rings happened.
There you go.
I remember my grandmother complaining because she could hear the lady that lived over the hill and breathing while she listened in on the calls. Any chance of 3 Guys episode from Charlotte for the bowl game? If so, I'll be there. JR from Cumberland.
So good.
I think we struck a chord.
Oh, a large chord,
Yeah.
like a harp.
It's the whole thing. 50 pages of this.
I would love to do a 3 Guys episode at the bowl game. I'll be there. Dumb and Dumber aren't going to be there, so
No.
it'll make it difficult to do. But I would love to have done one.
That would be fun. We got too much going on, man.
You got bowl games on the 26th.
Oh, we got
Yeah,
bowl
we got
games.
all- You
Yeah.
I mean, what do we have? 13 of them, 15 of them, something like that?
Yeah,
National games?
yeah.
I was thinking if we could get you flown down there on the 26th, we could do one about noon on the 26th.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But you
We
guys
might have
got
a game
bowl
on the
games?
20th. We might have one on the
Do we
26th.
have one on
Bet you
the
do.
26th?
I just go day by day in bowl season.
If you, we need a plane down and back, so you got to work on that.
If we can get a plane, we could, and there's no game, I'd figure that out.
But you have to get a plane.
I understand. Get you back and forth.
He said that like it's hailing an Uber. Oh, go and get a plane.
I'm just saying, if
Listen, it is not out of the realm of possibility that our listeners right now, you're going to get a phone call and you're going to go like, if you guys want a plane, I can get you back and forth on the 26th. You know that could happen.
I've told you my plane story, right?
No.
I told.
Lord, no. Well, wait a second. Based on your last response about the phone, here it comes. Well, this guy named Orville and his brother were there, and they said, here, just jump off this hill.
I
It'll
went out
go.
and I helped with the wing.
So this was years ago.
Took my horse and carriage over there to assemble the plane.
The Red Baron and I were.
I said, Amelia, don't take off now. I don't think the weather's right.
That's better than the story. Just
Mr.
move on.
Lindbergh, please come back.
Honest to God, I spent hours today on a Drexel Scout, and all we're doing is talking hankies and train guys.
What was your story?
Years ago, I was invited to this event in Charleston, and I didn't really want to go. And I said, I'll go if you fly me down. Like big timing.
Sure.
I told you this, didn't I?
I don't think so.
They said, okay. I said, oh, God. Okay, wow. I don't know. Fly down. I'm going to fly down. So I show up at the airport. There's this tiny little Piper Cub. I get in the back like a pilot. I'm in the back. How long does it take to drive to Charleston?
2 hours.
2 hours? 2 hours. It took an hour 45.
Yeah, that's true. Work on a plane. We need to. I don't want to be a remote controlled.
Well, here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. I'll help you. Like when you do ask for a plane, so you don't get into that situation, you always go, like, okay, I need a plane, 2 pilots, at the least turboprop King Air. If not, I need a jet. You got to qualify it. Here's what happened.
Well, that's why you're getting us the plane. You're the plane guy.
I've had that happen to me.
Oh, yeah?
You remember the year that Vinny Testaverde came in here and ran us off the field?
I absolutely do. I think they scored 70.
That night, John McKinney, the late John McKinney, who was our MSN engineer, and I, at that time, we were broadcasting car races.
Yeah, that's right.
Car races. And so the plan was, the guy says, I'll fly you guys. We said, we got a game. He said, I'll bring a plane up and we'll fly you over to the race that night to Winchester, Indiana.
Oh, my gosh.
Get on the plane at Morgantown Airport. Again, I'm so young, so naive, so stupid. 1 pilot, single engine plane. Get in, enough room for me to sit, and then John McKinney sat in the co-pilot seat. We take off. Sounded like I was inside of a wind turbine. And I went like, whoa. So we go up. We go above the interstate. And now we're on the interstate. And we're running even with cars. We're running even with cars. And I'm going like, we're not moving. Like, I think the car's like, and we're riding down the interstate with them. But the only thing is, we don't have wheels. We're just up in the air. It takes us like 7 hours to get to Winchester, Indiana. And McKinney is smoking cigarettes.
Oh, gosh.
You want to talk about helpless.
Oh, man.
Another one on that is Jack Fleming, when he was doing the Steelers, had a Mountaineer game here, and he needed to get to New York for a Jets-Steelers game. Like, it was early I don't know if it was exhibit. Wait a minute. So Mike Parsons says, like, yeah, I'll get you a plane, Jack. Fleming Fleming was beautiful. He would tell the story. I go to the airport.
Now, where's my plane?
Same thing. Like Parsons had got him like something that looked like 2 wings, a tire, and an engine. And Fleming would not let it go. Jack was just going, Parsons. Parsons put me. Now, Jack was a navigator in the war.
Yeah,
got
that's right.
Shot out, landed in a tree in France.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's Parsons. He said, Parsons. So anyway, the long story is when you ask for a plane, specify. Texter, about 3 times a year for many years, as our best friends who had stayed with us over the weekend were going to their car to leave, we would stand on the front porch. They would look back at us and say, thanks for having us. My wife would say, thanks for being had. In the context of a home victory, it would have a little bit of an edge. Nevertheless, that's our suggestions. Thanks for being had. Dr. Jeff in Charleston. Texter. First time, long time. I love the pod. I grew up in Seneca Rocks, now live in Cornelius, North Carolina. I still own land in Pendleton County. I think our community was one of the last communities in the United States to get dial phones in the mid-'70s. Our number was 4 shorts and long. I know exactly what Hoppy's talking about. My grandma would get up in the middle of the night to listen into a party line call if the phone rang. This whole story is usually the one I tell where there's an icebreaker and you have to tell something interesting about yourself. Anyway, I can't wait to watch.
Awesome.
The world champions beat the Tar Heels in Charlotte. My daughter just graduated from UNC in May.
So that's where you got all the gossip. You didn't have Facebook like you do now. You just go to Facebook.
Yeah. Now you
Long
pick it up
as
on the party line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Till somebody said,
Get off.
Get off the line.
Who's that breathing?
Long-time listener from Pennsylvania, lifetime WVU fan, thanks to my alum stepmom, Becky. My older brother Joe turned me out of this podcast a few years ago. He moved to Saberton after meeting my sister-in-law at the Wendy's there and never came home again. I enjoy the banter among you three as much as the sports. I'd like to propose that Tony be required to speak at least once per episode as Sean McDonough. It makes me laugh so hard every time. Thanks for all the laughs, guys. If you were the three amigos, who would be Chevy, Martin, and Steve, Josh?
You should do Sean every show. I agree, Josh.
I don't know.
Tony?
Ryan from Hurricane. Wonderful place. Why just why? West Virginia is located in the Eastern time zone, and he's mad about when they released the bowl graphic, they put the stupid bowl time in 4:30 Central.
He's right.
I don't know.
How do we backslide there?
Yeah. I thought that was fixed.
So whomever had been doing it for the regular season was on vacation, and they had to slide somebody else in there that didn't get the memo.
I wrote the note to the guy that got it fixed, and I haven't. He's efforting.
Athletic director chimed in on that as well.
Yeah, I did see the athletic
did
director
he?
wasn't happy.
Yeah, wasn't happy.
Now, Ren he'll
Get
weigh in.
We'll fix it.
Yeah.
He'll get involved.
Help us.
I have a really good line. I'm not going to use it now, but if they don't get it fixed, then I am going to use it.
Okay.
Hey, guys, wondering your thoughts on the theory of the NCAA blackballing West Virginia in transfer decisions because of former WV running back Sean Alston's lawsuit that he won in the Supreme Court over the NCAA Gestapo. I think that might be a huge stretch. Texter, Scopes, Spreads, and Hanky Boy. Connor from Charlotte here. After listening to every episode since 2017's Virginia Tech preview, I figured it's probably about time to send you a text. With you guys visiting the city I currently call home, I figured I'd throw out a few food recommendations. In South Park, Little Mama's Italian. In Supperland in Plaza Midwood was recently rated the best new restaurants in America. While pricey, it's an incredible dining experience. So Supperland in Plaza Midwood. Workman's Friend in Plaza Midwood, more laid-back Irish pub. P.S. I hope the coaching staff and the trust work hard to keep Nico around. Having one more year of Gigi and then transitioning to Nico after Garrett's gone would give us 4 to 5 years of consistent high-level quarterback play. Just a thought from someone who doesn't know much about anything. Cheers, boys. Merry Christmas. Appreciate you. Texter, let me start by saying thank you for all you do in keeping us lost and transplanted West Virginians up to date on everything West Virginia sports. I'm not much of a texter, but I wanted you all to know how much you guys mean to me and my family. I listen to every episode of Three Guys as well as Sportsline. I've lived in Southern California for about 25 years. I've spent the last 24 trying to get home. I'm from Point Pleasant, and I've been raised to love West Virginia sports and the state in general. The point of the text was to maybe help Hoppy clarify what I think he meant when asking about how much was in our collective. I think the better question to ask would be, how do we stack up against other schools in the Big 12 or nationally? I know we are not going to be on the same level as some Big Tens and SECs. I'm just wondering if we're on a similar level to the rest of the conference. Also, tell Brad that I grew up during the Mothman era, and I lived in Point Pleasant for my first 25 years, and I've never seen or heard from the Mothman, and I, of course, still have land in Mason County. Thanks again for all you guys do. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Chuck from SoCal, originally from Point Pleasant.
Thanks for listening, Chuck.
To answer your question, in collective monies, West Virginia is in the upper half among the other Big 12 schools.
How do you know that?
I was told that by the people that know.
And we'll do this in an upcoming episode, but so far, so good on that front. You've had some key guys say they're coming back. Wyatt Milam, Tomas Rimac, Brandon Yates, Cole Taylor. Trotter, I think, is a really interesting one. The freshman that was injured this year, I think, can be really good. So Traylon Ray recently just announced some
that's
good start.
huge.
Good start there.
Especially, Brad, when you look at some of these other schools, like top name quarterbacks just immediately out.
Yeah, there's some. That's the one position the texter mentioned, the quarterback position there. And isn't it nice? Because told you on this program.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice you had a guy that had an elite season in Garrett Green, and you're sitting here as West Virginia fans not worrying about what's going on in the portal with the quarterbacks.
Right.
Don't have to worry about it.
Huge.
Well, he made that announcement here, didn't
so
he?
I said, told him right here, sitting in this chair, told him.
1,000%.
But isn't that nice?
Yes, absolutely. No
like now
question.
you're just worried about a guy
Absolutely.
quarterback.
Yeah.
And not just a guy like, well, he started last year. Now hopefully he takes a step forward this year.
Not
Not that. Just guy was elite this year.
And schools, top tier schools. Now they'll get players because they have money in their top schools, but they're looking for quarterbacks.
West Virginia's got some players coming in this weekend, portal people.
Really?
Visits. Got about a half a dozen, 7 people visiting. Some portal people coming in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got any info on that?
I just gave it to you. Heavy on the defensive side.
Yeah. Well, you need that.
Janie Duncan and Ryan from Scott Depot write in. I wanted to give my grandmother, I wanted to give my grandmother a birthday shout out. She's a huge fan, never misses an episode. We had her birthday party at the Three Guys Go-Mart ballpark. Well, congratulations. Nice. Janie and Ryan, thank you for listening. And Grandma, a very, very happy birthday to you. Hoppy, my aunt and uncle lived in Logan County, the town of Switzer. My uncle worked in the coal mines. I can remember their phone having 3 longs into shorts, as you mentioned. Their phone number was 55J2, and their ring was, of course, unique to their number. So that's a no, unusual if you grow up in that time. I was born in 48, so probably 6 or 7 when we were down there. And being that young, you used to make the mistake early. And if any time the phone would ring, I'd pick up the phone. And, of course, it'd always be for someone else until I learned that everyone on the party line had their own unique ringtone. So stick it to them, Hoppy. A lot of people supporting you,
Appreciate
Hoppy.
that. A lot of people have, fond memories of that.
Professor Vinny weighs in on the great hanky debate. Research shows that handkerchiefs are less hygienic than tissues, and every time you blow your nose, you're piling on a fresh germ. The snot stops the virus from drying out, hence it lives longer. The extra moisture can even help it grow. Yuck. Sorry, Hoppy. This one's going down in history with the DeLorean, Microsoft Zune, and New Coke. King Rob from Reston. It's been a hot minute since I've had a chance to text, although I've still never missed an episode. I look forward to each week. Forget episode 800. I'm thinking 1,000.
I've lost my place.
I'm bouncing around.
Where are we?
Anyway, I was visited by the Mothman last night. He threatened me if I didn't start a Raekwon battle petition. So here we go. So we got a petition out there. I think the best thing that's happened in Raekwon battle is Raekwon put that video out.
Oh,
Excellent.
yeah.
It furthers my belief. I've said this many times on the show. Furthers my belief that there should be a vehicle for those people to present their case live when it happens, even if it's Zoom related. Hearing it directly from him, he did a wonderful job of outlining it there. Oh, that was a good video.
Willie G, not the Earl of Elkview, giving Tony a free line for the Mayo Bowl scene setter. WVU got miracle whipped in Houston. Let's hope we don't get duked in Charlotte. On another note, I guess West Virginia dodged a bullet or got screwed, depending on which side of the climb you're on, when Stoops of Kentucky got rudely nixed from the Texas A&M job search. I love the pod. Hope we have at least 800. Three Guys, longtime listener, first-time texter, had to share this story. I'm in Seattle for work Wednesday. Pop into a pub to grab some dinner, watch the backyard brawl. Ask the bartender, turn the game on. He says, oh, West Virginia, my daughter lives there.
Of course,
Turns out she goes to Marshall, finished high school in Charleston at GW, which was also, just happens to be my alma mater. Even on the other side of the country, there is always a West Virginia and apparently a George Washington connection, signed by Grant in Richmond, East Virginia, by the way of Charleston.
Always.
Texter, I'd like to propose a new off-season football segment where you rank the top 5 football players you've ever seen over each of your careers in various categories, but not obvious categories like top 5 quarterbacks. I'm thinking more like best hands, most athletic, fastest, strongest, most intelligent, most quirky, superstitious, most likely to irritate a coach, biggest joker. Basically, things that aren't as simple as listing the top 5 players, but require a deeper view into the program than the average fan gets. Hope to hear some of your insights into these, given how close each of you have been to the program over the years. JD, Southern Coalfields. We could do something like that. That'd be a good summer one.
Mm-hmm.
Clyde and Fairmont, give Hoppy a break. I was born in a shack in a holler in Upshur County in 1955. I'm a WVU fan, win or lose. Anyone can cheer for a winning team. We need to support all of our sports teams and give these young people a reason to play their hearts out. Clyde and Fairmont.
Same age as I am.
Awesome. Let me also just throw this out here as a disclaimer.
Yeah.
A couple people, just various wherever I'm running around, think that like when we bust each other on this program, or Brad yells at Hoppy or Hoppy, like we actually, I'll just say this once, we actually like each other. We have fun with each other. What you see when we do this is exactly the way it is when we're not on the air.
True.
That's what it is. And so I think sometimes people like take stuff like, no, we're just having fun. Right? If we didn't kid, we wouldn't love.
You just broke the aura of our tension that exists. The creative tension that exists.
But some people
here.
come up to me sometimes and they go like,
creative tension.
some people go like, I just can't, they get, and they get on that, and he's mean, like, no, dude, we're just breaking.
That's what, well, never mind.
What?
No, it's one of my life theories, and whenever I say this, it's like, oh, okay, you're trying to create differences between men and women, is that I think this is primal. I think that when guys are together, and I think this goes back to prehistoric days, and guys sense, if there's three guys and they sense a weakness on one, then two are going in. I think that's how it is. And I think that we don't do that, like we aren't stabbing each other with homemade knives, but kind of figuratively we are.
No,
I think that's what it is. I think it's a holdover.
I think it's a great point. And I don't know if it's just me.
What's that?
You go in.
No, that's what happens. Like if you're on Tony, and either I'm going to back Tony, and we'll try to back you into a corner, or I'll come with you, and we'll see if we can take Tony down. That's how it is.
No, you're right, and I didn't know if that was just me or the way that I was raised.
No,
but like where I come from, man, like it is absolutely, you just crush people, and you have fun doing it, and I think a lot of people are aghast by that.
But I think it's more male.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Jeff and Scott Depot, I don't necessarily agree that depth is the entire problem. If we had a couple more players, people would be saying we have to shorten rotation. Problem's talent. We're playing 4 and 5 guys, major minutes that at best should be getting a handful. I'm not saying they are not good guys and they stuck it out, but there may be a reason they didn't go elsewhere. Right now, we have 2 guys playing that should be seeing major minutes. Fire away, Jeff and Scott Depot. Here, man, that's what I would say, Jeff. It's hard, and it's going to get harder.
Yes, it is.
Gentlemen, Chris and Marietta, like the great musician Prince, God rest his soul, Hoppy has officially become a symbol.
Did you see he put the symbol, though?
Yeah, the symbol's there.
3 longs and 2 shorts.
2 shorts.
Yeah.
Actually, that's really good. That should probably be the T-shirt.
Yeah, that should be it.
That's a great.
Yeah,
if you know, you know.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Well done, Chris.
Even though the outcome wasn't what I wanted, Texter says, I had a great time at my first blackout game, ran into Coach Hunter twice, and spreads not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Stopped at the Go-Mart in Bridgeport on my way home, filled up with gas,
Excellent.
Grabbed a few Coke Zeros, and yes, 2 Reese's Christmas trees for the trip home. Apparently he didn't pick up any Santa boots.
No boots.
Thank you, Spreads, for the recommendation. Signed by P1 Jennings, who also uses a handkerchief for handling sinus issues.
Jennings and I had a nice talk. Wanted to make sure he was at the game by himself, heading back to Charleston by himself. I wanted to make sure he knew to get caffeinated up for the ride back.
Oh, yeah,
there.
you got to do that.
stay awake there late night going back.
So the Longmore boys weren't in with them?
Didn't see him. No, they weren't with Jennings. No, he was solo last night.
You remember to go for good times. Get that rewards card at Go-Mart. So if you're like Jennings, you add up those rewards, and especially up until New Year's Eve, December 31st, triple rewards points on Tuesdays at all Go-Marts. All right. So the Mountaineers, world champion Mountaineers, on tomorrow, Friday, take on the Clemson Tigers to try to get to the national championship game, College Cup, and we strongly support Mountaineers soccer And Coach Stratford, since Hoppy hired him, we are efforting and fingers crossed that they get that victory tomorrow and play on Monday in the
I'm going
championship.
to talk to Ren about an extension.
You call Ren up and say, listen, Ren, I know you're a little bit new to the area. I hired him. I made the hire on Stratford, and I want all things good for Dan. He just
I would think the athletic director's eyeing something there.
Yeah.
That's a guy you want to keep, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they've done a great
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
The whole
you do.
program's done a great job.
All right, we're back on Monday. We'll recap WVU's soccer to that point, and we will also give the recap on Drexel and then next week's final exams. And so West Virginia won't play again until UMass in Springfield the following Saturday, and then finally Kirk Harisa comes back. That'll do it. We be done.
No, don't forget, episode800.com. Final chance here for the holiday
this
push.
is it.
Yeah, get it in.
Get your stuff in. Celebrate Christmas the way that it should be with popcorn,
Coffee.
coffee,
Efforting, sure.
T-shirts, and soon,
Ball cap.
maybe we'll have the hankies ready for our Valentine's edition.
Dave says we can't find them.
Well, we'll find them. Dave,
Well,
let me
Tony's
just say
going to box them. We can find them.
Oh, you can?
Yeah,
You just-
Tony's just got to individually box them.
I'll do it. I'll box them. I got nothing else going on. Box them.
Fold them.
Fold them up. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. Take advantage of that unbelievable Avalon Tri-Tune. Three Guys special. Tell them you're a Three Guys listener. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. And Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. Thanks so much for being with us. Spread the word about West Virginia's #1 most listened to sports podcast. For the Hopster, El Senatore, we be done. Have a great weekend. See you.